welcome to my video. So, I just set up Debian testing on my content creating PC, which had Windows on it. I wiped Windows off. Even though I have 2 hard drives, I just wiped Windows off. I'm like, no, just Linux. Just Debian Linux. So, I was gonna give up on Linux and just use Windows, because a lot of distributions kind of really pisses me off a lot, and I just sort of just got really pissed off and was like, man, I'm getting really sick and tired of Linux. I was to the point where I don't want to use it anymore. I'm done with it. After 25 years using Linux, I'm done. I'll just use Windows and just whatever, fuck Linux. Then after a while, I started missing Linux. A lot, and I'm like, but if I ever do go back to Linux, I really got to stick with a distribution. And what distribution that I want to stick with, and seriously, just stick with it, because I'm tired of always set up systems all the time, always trying different systems. I don't mind to play around with systems, but I need to learn to just do it in a virtual machine instead of install it native on a hardware. Because I do like running systems on actual hardware instead of having a virtual machine. But I need to go back to how I used to always test things out in a virtual machine. But lately, I just been always installing on the hard drive, because I'm always searching for that right system, and to be honest, there is no right system. That's just always gonna be like that. That's the whole point of distro hopping. You always feel like you're looking for something, but you never find it. You're like, oh, well, that might be the system I need. That might be the system I need. I'm gonna try that system. That might be the one. That one's for me. Whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm sure a lot of Linux users are like that. And believe me, it's not a good thing, but we all do it. But I'm gonna make a goal here. Basically, try to stick with a distribution, and not stick with one system, and stay on it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna stick with Debian, because I like Debian testing. I don't really care too much. I get the whole Debian stable thing. I would use Debian stable for servers. If I had a server that needs to always be on all the time, always on, never have to reboot, just have a long uptime, I'll use Debian stable. It'd be a real good server system. But for me, as a desktop user, I think Debian testing is a real good sweet spot with Debian, because it's not SID. SID is unstable. It's kind of like a rolling release, kind of like Fedora in a way, and it's kind of like Gentoo. Because Gentoo, you can go to the unstable route as well, which is kind of like a rolling release, and same as Arch Linux is basically designed to be a rolling release distribution. So SID's kind of like that, but I wouldn't recommend going on SID. I think testing is good, because you're testing out the next stable system. So it's still pretty good. People say it could be buggy. Sure, it could be buggy, but Debian, they're really good with their package and package management. They have a really good team. I'll give Debian one really good reason why I think people should stick with Debian and use Debian is because of the development team. When it comes to package management, when it comes to their distribution, they do a really good job. Also, Debian's been around and it's one of the first OG distribution. So Debian basically put the desktop on Linux. Pretty much, let's just say that. I know people's gonna argue with like OpenSUSE and Slackware and all these other distributions, sure, but if you look at Slackware has been Slackware and it hadn't taken off that much. Slackware for people that are really have a niche kind of thing, and just like people that use Slackware, they use a Slackware just to say, yeah, I use Slackware by the way, kind of like Arch Linux, but no one really used Slackware, and it's the same idea with Gentoo. Like Gentoo is just there, and people like. I like Gentoo a lot. Okay, there's reason why I don't use Gentoo. It's not because I don't consider Gentoo hard. Gentoo is not a hard system. It's actually not a bad system. The way you set up Gentoo is kind of similar how we used to set up Linux back in the 90s. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good way to learn Linux, to be honest. Same as Arch Linux. The manual way of Arch Linux, it's a good way to learn it. But I think the people in this generation, like the younger generation, have it really good. Like Linux is really good. Like you have really good installers. You have a lot of choices. Back then, we didn't have much choices. Like I started off with Canopix. Canopix was the shit back then. That was the desktop. It wasn't bloated. It was a really lightweight desktop. Like Canopix was like the Arch Linux today or the Nix OS today. You know what I mean? Like Canopix was pretty cool. Like it was like they had different spins of Canopix, and it was a real cool style Debian system. If you look at MX Linux today and Antex Linux, like they kind of remind me a lot of like how Canopix was like. Same as Damn Small Linux was based on Canopix, but it was based on it was a very, really trimmed down Canopix system. And I love Canopix. Canopix is basically, I used Linux in the past before I tested out Canopix, but Canopix was the distribution that I basically, you know, like really kept it on my computer. It was actually the distribution that worked, like the hardware that I had, Canopix worked pretty good with the hardware. So that's why I just wiped out Windows, because I only had one hard drive. It was a mechanical drive. This was back in 2000, 2001. And I just remember it, like sound worked, my internet worked, you know, like my Ethernet or LAN, like everything that I had in my box, which I think it was a Pentium 4. Yeah, like I think like 785 megabytes of memory, had a Rage 128 megabyte ATI card, AGP or something like that. Yeah, but Canopix worked really well with that system, and I was like, okay, cool. So I basically wiped out Windows. I think I was using Windows, maybe Windows XP, or it could be Windows 2000. So I wiped out Windows, and I just basically used Canopix. I really love Canopix, and then I used Canopix for a while. Then I discovered Damn Small Linux. Damn Small Linux was like, it had a Fluxbox window manager as the desktop, and I was just like, wow, this is Unix, man. Like it had a really Unix look to it, and I was like, this feels like a Unix, like it just feels like a Unix system. Like when I used Damn Small Linux, like the original Damn Small Linux felt like a really like Unix system. I used that for a while, and that worked really well with that computer as well. And then Ubuntu came out. I remember Ubuntu coming out, or was it? No, it was Fedora. Fedora 1 in 2003. Yeah, it was Fedora. I used Fedora Core for a little bit. For almost a year, I used Fedora Core. I actually really rocked Fedora Core, but I switched back between Canopix, Damn Small Linux. I went back to Damn Small Linux a lot. It was a very, very easy system to use. It was. I used a lot of systems. I actually had a puppy Linux on a USB, and I never like USB sticks were just coming out, and so like just running a full Linux system on a USB stick and just plug it into any computer around the house. Like it was cool. Like I went downstairs. I went on my mom's computer or the family computer, I should say. She had like a compact computer. I just would boot up Linux on that as well, and it was fun. But yeah, I remember using Dan Small Linux. That was a great system. I really was inspired a lot by Dan Small Linux when I made my Tuxat Linux distribution or spin of Arch Linux. I was very inspired a lot by Dan Small Linux. I love Fluxbox. Fluxbox is one of my favorite window managers. Same as OpenBox. And it's kind of sad because these window managers are all going to fade away. I know a lot of people are holding on tight to Xorg, and they know it's it's going away. It's dying. Like Xorg is over 40 years old. It's old code, and it's not really the secure way of using Linux. It's really not that secure. I wouldn't recommend it. I would stick with Wayland. And I love window managers. Don't get me wrong. But I do like GNOME a lot. GNOME is my really like I like the latest GNOME. It's a good desktop, and this is probably blocking my probably not blocking, but anyways, yeah, it's just nice to install it on the system. This is my content creating PC, so it's a very good system for. I always use Linux on this computer for the most part. I'm always going to keep Windows on my gaming PC because I just think Windows is a good platform to game on. That's just a personal preference, but I could play games on this system as well. I do have another 1 terabyte NVMe disk, also just nothing on it. And I do have... I have 1 terabyte on the main system as well, so there's 2 terabytes on the system in total. So I mean, if I want to play games on Linux, I can. I have a this computer can handle playing games on Linux as well. Also, I have my mini PC, which is not the best, but it does play games pretty good. I will give it that. I play a few games with it, and it ran some good games. Like, it ran games like, not gonna say like how like. My Asus desktops, but it runs game pretty good. And I gotta say, like, I really like Debian. It's really good to be back on Debian. I know, like, I talk a lot about Debian, and it's always like even like this year, like I've been switching back and forth with Debian, and I'm gonna stick with Debian. Debian. It doesn't really update that often. Like I had some updates, but like it's not like updates that I really need to reboot. I could do the same with Fedora. It's just Fedora. I don't know. Like it's just the way the sad thing with Fedora, like with RP and Fusion and all that stuff. I don't really care for that stuff. Debian's more keep it simple. I had to install some applications like GIMP and Shotgun. They used to be in the repository. I don't know why it's not there no more. I'm going to try to install GIMP. It's not there. Like, it's saying GIMP is not available but it's referred by another package. But what is it? This may mean that the package is missing or has been obsolete or is only available from another source. Like, it used to be there. Maybe they're getting ready for 3.0. I don't know. And Shotcut too. Like, Shotcut used to be there and it's not there no more. So it's referred by another package. Like, what's the, like, I don't know. Like, where's Snapic? So if if I search, but it's like I can't find it. Okay, GIMP, there's something. GIMP help. Interesting. So there's all like the help for GIMP, but there's no GIMP. It's like GIMP just been taken off. Same as Shotcut. Like I noticed, like it's not there anymore. I didn't really done the research on it, but I just find that kind of weird that GIMP and Shotcut's not in the repository. But that's alright. But I mean, I use the Flatpak application. I don't mind for that. But like with Steam and Discord, I don't want to use Flatpak version. And this is all to do with the sandbox, and I prefer to just have it normal. So I like you can get the dev packages for Steam and Discord and Google Chrome. So that's what I did. So, which is cool. I mean, I always install it with a dev package anyway. So, yeah, I just really like Debian a lot. I mean, like don't get me wrong, I like Fedora, but it's really not for me. It's really not. Like it's a nice system. Like I like Fedora. I think it's a really nice system. But I think it's target for people that likes Red Hat a lot, and I'm not really a Red Hat person. I used to like Fedora a lot back in the day, but I'm just more of a Debian person. Like probably my favorite distribution is Debian. It always has been. I always liked Debian. I like Arch Linux too a lot. I used to be really into Arch Linux a lot. But I'm getting kind of tired of the roll and release kind of lifestyle and distribution. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fun to play around and always see the latest updated packages and what's going on with all the cool software and all the new features that's getting to the software. I used to be into that a lot, but I don't know. I guess I'm just getting old. Just I just want a really nice, good Linux system. I'm not saying Arch Linux is not good. I just want a stable, not so much updates, but have good packages. It's I don't really need the bleeding edge of software. I just want pretty much good updated system, but not like hardcore updated. You know what I mean? And I think Debian testing is really the perfect, system for me. And I'm going to make a goal here, see if I can keep this system until next year on December 2025. And let's see if I keep Debian for 1 year without without distro hopping to another distribution. Like just stay on Debian and that's it. No matter what. Even if I have problems, just stick with it for 1 year. So like December 4th, so like next year, December 4th, 2025. Let's see if I can do that. I know a lot of people are probably going to put the comments like, you won't be able to do it. You won't be able to do it. I will do it. I know I will. And I'm going to be testing out other systems, but I'm going to be testing out in VirtualBox. Wonder if they have VirtualBox. Oh, we'll have to get the Debian packages. You can download it off the website. I mean, I could use apt-get. Well, if I do apt-get app install VirtualBox. Is it probably with capital V. Anyways, I think you have to get the Debian package, standalone package. Anyway, this is my video. Little video here. I mean, this is my video. Well, obviously it's my video. I'm a little tired. It's been a really long night at work. But anyways, now that like I have my two computers that I use on a daily basis, that's just using like my living room computer is using just Debian, and same as this box here is using just Debian. My computer next to it is using Windows, which is running Final Fantasy 14 for the most part, but it will be running Paths of Exile 2 on Friday if I can get on the server, because I did get the early access to play Path of Exile PoE 2, and I'm excited to play a good isometric ARPG game produced by GGG, and I really can't wait to play Path of Exile 2. I really like the first one, but the second one looks super great, man. I'm gonna love it. I know I will. I'm gonna be playing Monk, and I'm gonna try out Warrior. I'll try them all, but Monk is the the class I want to play. Anyways, guys, I'm really I'm also gonna test out Path of Exile 2 on Linux on this box here. So I might do a video on that in the future. So stay tuned. Anyways, guys, have a good one. Cheers.